So today started my church's 21 days of prayer. Well, technically it started yesterday at the church service, but today on Monday, the third, fourth, whatever it is, today was the start of the actual prayer sessions. And so what these are, it's every day at 6 a.m. People come in droves, and at all the different campuses for my church, they essentially just all get there and do an hour-long prayer session. So there's a little bit of worship, there's a short message from one of the pastors, and then it's just people in prayer for 30, 45 minutes. And this is my first time doing it, and today was my first day doing one of these prayer sessions, and man, it was just powerful. And I think that it's reassurance for me making this decision in my life to go full-time into my own entrepreneurial venture, and it aligning with 21 days of prayer, because as I'm doing this every morning, I'm going to be intentionally setting aside that hour at 6 a.m. to go spend time with God. And I think that it's very powerful to start your day like that. And I think that God designed it to be like this for me to be making this decision during this time, so that I'm intentionally spending all of these days with Him in the morning and just learning to just trust Him more and more and dive deeper into my faith, sink deeper into His love, and just really engulf myself in trusting His plan for me. And so, yeah, it's super powerful. I'm super excited to continue it. I'll be going every morning. And yeah, let's have a good week, people. Let's get it.
It's quite late.
Sorry about that. To go into the office, or I would have done it earlier. But how's everything going, bro? You good? Family doing good?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. What about you?
Man, I'm blessed. The Lord is providing for me, so I'm great.
So, first off, I think basically what we're noticing is that the views are stuck, and there's a lot of reasons to that. So, one of the reasons is obviously we didn't really try any other formats. We only tried the educational format, and even with the educational, I think it lacks something, which is the videos are not really engaging. So what I mean by that is that it's the same format, the same place, the same way of talking. You're just watching
No variety.
someone talk. There's literally no variety. So even in the educational videos, if we try a different engaging, let's say make it more engaging.
So what me and my editor were talking about, as you saw, I was having a call with him. So as you saw, I was having a call with my editor, and what we were discussing is basically we're at about a month in of working together, and we're trying to look at what's going on, right? Obviously it's early, obviously we still have a lot of things, a lot of data to collect, but what we're trying to do is go ahead and start getting early returns on what we need to do to improve and see more views and ultimately get more leads from the content. And so what we're trying to do right now is we're creating a content ecosystem. So we want it, when people enter into my Instagram or my YouTubes, which either one, we want them to feel like they're entering an ecosystem, right? We want it to feel like it's entering a whole new world. And so for my Instagram, what we're doing is we're creating a start here post, kind of another post explaining what Kaizen is, why I chose Kaizen, and what it means to me. And so we're going to have those two posts at the top. So one's going to explain who I am, what I do, how I help people. And the other one is going to be more focused on Kaizen, what is Kaizen, and explaining the reasoning behind why I named my company Kaizen Accounting. And so we're trying to create this ecosystem, right? And I think that, and I know I reference him all the time, but you look at Daniel Dalen, I think that when you look at his profile or his YouTube, you enter this ecosystem where it feels like you're entering a different world. For him, it's this very creative, artistic entrepreneur that has this very certain color set, and it's very schematic, the way that he designs everything. And so I think that what we're trying to do, so what we're trying to do is create something similar for my brand. And so we want it to all be the same colors. We want it to have the same feel throughout. And, you know, it's hard to put into words what that is. I'm still in my head trying to figure out how to do it. But you create this certain vibe, and when people enter into your profile, they enter into this different realm where it evokes this certain emotion. And yeah, I'm just working internally to try and figure out how to do that. So that'll be the big focus of this week, along with a few other smaller client things. And then on top of that, heavily studying for my first EA exam. I'm probably going to take it here in the next week or two and knock that first part out, get that passed, and move on to the next one so we can have it finished by end of September, hopefully. So yeah, let's crush the week. Let's get after it. It is Tuesday already. And
I mean, the world's in denial, but they all know what I'm headed for. We about to feed these youngins to the metaverse. Meanwhile, I'm over here just trying to pen a verse. Cause I'm done being extra with the extroverts. The label used to wonder how I'm supposed to stand next to Vert. Probably never thought that I would get these legs to work. I work hard, but hard shit don't need no extra work. That's why I show up in a sweatshirt and let it burn. The world's mine.
So one of the main things that I'm working on right now in my business, obviously besides the content, because that's the main thing that we're going after right now, but other than that, right now the main thing is to grow the bandwidth of my client roster. So what I'm trying to do is just do a massive amount of outreach. My strategy for doing this is primarily through Instagram. To me, it's the best platform to do it on, other than maybe LinkedIn. LinkedIn might be better for business owners, but I still haven't established a presence on there yet. So I'm waiting to do that. And then once I'm officially done with my job on the 20th, I'm going to be going into exploring that. But as for right now, we're doing it through Instagram. And so what I see a lot of people doing is they just send these copy and paste messages. I get them a lot from content type people. It's just these copy and paste messages where it's just, you can tell they didn't really look at your profile. They didn't put any effort in behind it besides copy and paste send, right? And so what I'm doing as I go through is I'm sending personalized video messages. So it'll be me here at my desk and I'll start talking to the camera and talk to the person, right? I try to personalize it a little bit by saying like, hey John, hey David, you know, stuff like that to try and make it give a little bit more of a personal touch, but I do still go off a script, admittedly. So what that script is, I basically say, hey David, I know you get pitched here all the time in your DMs, so I'll keep it short. I'm Harrison, founder of Kaizen Accounting. I work with business owners as an outsourced accountant and tax strategist to lower their taxable income. I've got a free resource I'd love to share with you. Would you be against me sending it over? And so it's pretty simple and easy, right? You know, it's nothing crazy. And I think that anytime that you're going through the DMs, your success rate is going to be a little bit lower, especially if you're not a huge name yet. Like I have just crossed 200 followers on Instagram, so means for a little celebration, but I'm still by no means a big name, not a big authority. So the success rate is going to be lower. So when you're doing this, volume is key. You can't be scared of rejection. People are going to tell you they're either going to not respond, tell you to F off, or they're going to be interested. There's kind of the three lanes people fall in. And, you know, during this startup phase, you just have to be willing to accept that and just go after it. And so that's what I'm doing. Just putting up a lot of volume, simple and easy, and just getting after it. So just going to continue doing that. So just wrapped up with morning prayer. Another great session, and I think that one thing that I've really been thinking about a lot as I'm going through these morning prayer sessions is just leaning all the way in and fully trusting God, because I feel like I'm at a point now where I can say that I'm doing it and I know the steps to do it, but I'm not fully leaned in and I don't have that feeling just of surrenderance. But another thing is I was talking to a guy who's kind of like a mentor, older brother to me, is just that you got to remember it's a process. Like look back at the last 8 months and what all has happened in these last 8 months. And this is just part of the process. Imagine 8 months from now what I'm going to say, you know? And I think that that's just kind of what I'm leaning into. It's just the fact that it's a process. Not everything's going to happen overnight. And I think it's a great reminder in our faith, our business, our health, our relationships, and just our own personal developments that everything's a process. Not anything good doesn't happen overnight. And we just have to keep working at it and, keep dwelling on the right word and the right mental, and eventually it'll come true. So, yeah. Morning prayer finished on this beautiful Friday morning. As you can see, it's mighty sunny and beautiful out. So, gonna head to the gym, and then I actually have to go into the office for the day job. So, excited for that to be ending soon, and just continuing to grow and just learn. So, catch up with y'all later when I'm at the desk working. So, I think one thing that I've never mentioned on this vlog is why I call it Diary of a Founder, the name of the vlog series that I'm running. And so for anybody in the, I guess, self-help kind of podcast world, you'll have heard of this podcast called Diary of a CEO. And it's by a guy named Steven Bartlett. So this podcast was very instrumental for me over the past 2 years or so, 2-3 years. It's been that and Modern Wisdom are the two podcasts that really, quite honestly, changed my life. Sorry, I'm making a burger bowl for doing a little meal prepping for the week. That's one of the podcasts that just really changed my life. He himself is a very successful entrepreneur, but he also brings on a ton of entrepreneurs and a ton of just very intellectual people in all fields. And so I became addicted to watching his podcast, and just the way that he conveys his ideas and the way that his guests convey their ideas, it really made a tremendous impact in my life, because there's a lot of areas in my life that I didn't have somebody to ask the questions to, or to help me figure out the answers to certain things. And not to say I don't have a great family or great people in my life, but there's just certain things that you don't ask people. And so that was my outlet for doing that, right? And so it's just been a very instrumental podcast for me. And I guess you can say I'm paying tribute to something that made such a huge impact in my life by essentially just giving my series a sub name of that. Rather than Diary of a CEO, it's Diary of a Founder. And so I think that if you can't get in the right rooms with the right people, that one of the best ways to learn from the right people is to watch podcasts that are the same thing. A lot of people say that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around, but I would also argue that you are the sum of the 5 podcasts that you listen to the most. So just a little backstory on why it's called Diary of a Founder and why the series goes by that name. So, little tidbit for y'all. Alright people, sorry it's a little dark, but we're on the way back from my apartment gym. I just got done filming some B-roll, so me and my content creator, the guy that helps me with all that, we kind of talked it over and we discussed how we think that for Instagram we should be using it to nurture our leads and focus more on just getting eyeballs, right, rather than the education. So we're going to cut back from doing education every day to implementing a lot more lifestyle and more personal type things where it's me just out doing stuff. And so with that comes the need for B-roll. And so for the first time in my life, basically the first time in my life, I became the guy in the gym recording himself. So apologies in advance if you see any douchey shirtless videos of me working out. But yeah, gotta do it for the B-roll, gotta do it for the views. It's part of it. It was good when I was alone in there, but then a lady walked in and that was a little awkward to finish up, having to record myself in front of somebody, but all comes with the game, all comes a part of it, so just got to keep pushing. And yeah, got some good B-roll for the future that we can use, and yeah, things are coming together. Just got to keep crushing it, keep crushing out the content, and just keep refining our strategy until it looks good and it starts working, we see results. So we tried one strategy last month, and then this month we're going to go into a little bit different of a strategy, focus more on the long form educational to get more clients and qualified leads versus on Instagram where, you know, people are more just scrolling. So good strategy that we're going to try out, and yeah, just got to keep pushing, keep refining, keep testing, experimenting, and as long as we keep going and never give up, we'll succeed.
I wanna be happy, could you show me how it's done? You look so pretty, pretty like the sun. I could watch forever while you shine on everyone. I wanna go hard, I wanna have fun. I wanna be happy, could you show me how it's done? You look so pretty, pretty like the sun. I could watch forever while
So I think that a really under discussed part of entrepreneurship is the effect that it has on your family. I think that we often think about the effects that it has on us as the entrepreneur, and you know, the drawbacks mentally and physically when it comes to working long hours, all of those things. We consider those, but I think that the thing that is overlooked is the family impact. You know, I think that what we should remember is that, well, let me put it this way. Put yourself in your parents' shoes. If you had a kid, say your son, going into entrepreneurship, leaving the normal lifestyle and going into this life that's very uncertain and very drastic in many ways, it would leave a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear for you as a parent, because at the end of the day, all our parents want is for us to succeed. And I think that's something that, you know, we should remember is just that our parents are going through a lot too as we go through this. And that's something that we can't overlook. The stress and anxiety is also carried over to them because they want their child to be as successful as anybody, you know? They're your number one supporter. You know, if you're blessed to have a family that's still intact and everything, they're your number one supporter. And I think that we should just remember that more as entrepreneurs. I think that we should just remember that, you know, we're gonna have to take risk, and it's not always gonna be something that our family agrees with, but that we should remember that, like, it's affecting them as well. As people that want nothing but the best for us, it's affecting them as well. And so that's just something I want to remind y'all, just to keep in the back of your mind as you're building this entrepreneurial life, that, like, yeah, you don't always need to satisfy them with your decisions, but you also need to consider how it's gonna affect them. And, you know, you always want to check in on them, because it's everything that we do is gonna affect them as well. And, you know, nobody will love you like your mom and your dad. And that's just the story of it. So yeah, it's Sunday, so I'm gonna end the episode off here, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I apologize, I was kind of all over the place this episode. I just got a lot going on and just trying to figure it all out as I move into this new season of life. So hope y'all enjoyed. Comment if you want to see anything or know anything else about what's going on in my daily life. Always happy to share, and, you know, share the learnings that I'm having. So until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. HP out.